Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and because I happened to comment to Rachel Messer that I wasn't sure how to start off this video, she decided to post this on Twitter, and me never wanting to back down because I am who I am, there will now be an image of boobs on the screen for 5 seconds. Children should avert their eyes due to the graphic nature of this content. And now that everyone has been sufficiently titillated for one day, there are many reasons why a developer can find themselves placed in the not-so-hallowed halls of the dirty devs. And one such action is indeed review manipulation, and so we will be discussing the developer Futurtech and their game Pago Forest Tower Defense. A special thanks to Mellow Online and Sentinels of the Store, where I was first made aware of this issue. A link to the Sentinels of the Store Steam page will be in the description down below. Pago Forest Tower Defense, because they put a space before the colon for some reason, is aptly named, as it is indeed a tower defense, or rather a lane defense game that was released on May 9th of this year. The developers Futurtech are a French developer that has created one additional game to this one titled The Forest of Pago, The Revenge of the Dragon, and it is a game that touts itself as being educational in nature, teaching grammatical spelling that was released in 2019. Pago Forest Tower Defense is exceptionally bog standard and rather basic in its execution, with varied range and melee unit types, with more unit types such as traps and barricade-style units opening up as you progress through the story. The options menu is extensive, although poorly designed, specifically with them not properly displaying screen resolution types, and seemingly each setting imparts only minor changes. The menu is surprisingly robust for a game that is actually rather basic in nature. Now, bear in mind that I am not a fan of tower defense games in general. I just don't find them entertaining or exciting, so take my critique of the game itself with a grain of salt and possibly 3 fingers of scotch. However, I find the game mechanics to be completely bog standard, as I said, as well as the story, while it does have one, is clumsily implemented. The English translation is flawed and extremely superficial. The game starts you out in a basic tutorial method of a single lane, further progressing up to 5 lanes with each additional mission. Each one opens up a new type of unit and giving you greater options as to how to proceed, and building up to a simple stratagem of 2 archers and a melee unit per line will see you through those early missions while having literally nothing left to do outside of clicking on your gold chests to increase your income. That does change after a little while, once the game begins introducing mage units, as an increased number of enemies can easily overpower that strategy, but by that point I'd already found myself being completely bored and unwilling to continue. The game itself costs $12 on Steam, and for what I can see here, the game might be worth it at about the $5 price point. The graphics are fine, the controls are easy enough to understand and obviously designed around a touchscreen premise, which makes me feel that this game was originally created for mobile devices. But all in all, the game already would not be worth the price being asked, even if you're a fan of tower defense games, as there are literally hundreds of tower defense games on Steam, many with far better graphics and visuals and at a significantly lower price. And yet, somehow this game has managed to garner a 100% positive review rating with its 14 user reviews. I know that's not many, but we are talking about an indie game here in a flooded tower defense market, so let's take a look at some of those user reviews. Review manipulation can sometimes be difficult to detect when executed in an intelligent manner. Thankfully, when dealing with an indie developer with only 14 user reviews, all of them positive, it becomes much easier to detect, especially when they are executed in such a poor manner. So let's take a look at the accounts that can be quite easily identified as not being legitimate. The first, from BB66622, actually appears to be a legitimate user review, well worded and praising of the game. However, I always tend to question a user account that contains lengthy numbers within them. When looking at the user profile, this is the only user review that the user has posted, and the user's creation date was May 9th, the same day as the game's release. Next, we have Wizard 2019. Again, this is the only game this user has reviewed. The review itself is extremely basic, and the account itself was created in 2017. Then there is Orion Pegasus. Same thing again. An exceptionally basic review written in English by someone who is likely not a native English speaker. This is the only user review on the account, and Orion Pegasus' Steam account was created in March of this year. Croco XI33. Similar situation. This user has only the one review to their name, despite their account being created in October of 2012, and the review is again obviously written by someone whose native language is not English. Zelda Link 42. This account was created the day after the game was released, and this extremely basic review was created the same day that the account was. Witch Darkness 6. With this one, we have the exact same story as Zelda Link 42. The account was created on May 10th, the day after the game's release, and their game review was posted that very same day. And then it would seem the developers gave up on even trying with their alternate accounts that had either been borrowed, bought, or created, as the remainder of these accounts didn't even bother to finish creating their Steam community profiles, such as Helsing Blade. This account was created on May 11th, even though the Steam page shows that their user review was somehow posted on May 10th, which it is possible that this was somehow due to some time zone differences or making use of a VPN to cross time zones to post the review in another country. Bear in mind that the developers are French, and it is possible that this method was used to post a review on the American servers through such a VPN. Next up, we have Terminator Moshi 55. Again, we have a date discrepancy with this account, as it was created on May 11th, and their user review containing a massive 2 words was posted the day before on May 10th. Also, as like with the rest, this is the only user review on the account, and the account has not been completed in Steam. Followed by Darkness Sucks 999. Yet another review that seems to have been written by a non-native English speaker, and the account again was created the same day that the user review was posted, and their user profile has not been completed on Steam. And lastly, we have Laura Sever 56. This account was created on September 27th, 2019, and this account actually has 2 user reviews to its name. The only issue with that is that this account again has not been completed despite being nearly a full year in age, and their first review was posted the same day as the account's creation for the developer's other game titled The Forest of Pago: The Revenge of the Dragon, an educational game. That review was lengthy and would likely seem legitimate, however, it is difficult to believe, as this account follows that pattern of being created the same day as their first user review. The Steam account still has not been configured after a full 9 months having passed, and while their review on the developer's first game was extremely verbose, the review for Pago Forest Tower Defense was merely a single word. And if it were only 1 or 2 accounts, that might still be enough to warrant a concern over review manipulation. However, when taken all together, this is blatant in its nature. There's a reason why review manipulation is anti-consumer. In addition to it being a violation of Steam terms of use, which would be enough to get a developer nuked off of Steam completely, it is misleading to prospective players of the game. Granted, not all of the reviews seemed to be illegitimate in nature, and only those covered here were individually suspect. But for a developer to engage in review manipulation, what they are doing is actively lying to anyone who might come across their page, making the game seem more enticing than it otherwise might be. This would of course result in increased sales, which is why developers like these engage in such behavior. They see it as nothing more than a marketing tool to boost sales. But it's dishonest. It's fake. It's ultimately nothing more than a lie. And it is one that is perpetuated in order to mislead people into purchasing a game from a developer that is unscrupulous in their dealings, and the game itself is worth nowhere near the $12 asking price. A critique is important. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that on my channel before once or twice. It is important for gamers to be able to make an informed purchasing decision on which games and which developers they choose to spend their money on, and it serves as a check against the more shady and manipulative elements of the games industry. But people that read user reviews, people that look at the aggregate review scores, have to be able to trust and believe that those reviews are from legitimate people that have played the game and are bothering to take the time out of their day to let other people know their thoughts on it and whether or not the game would be fun for someone else to play, or conversely to let people know that they had a bad experience and that others might be better served spending their money elsewhere. Not all critique is created equal, of course, but it does need to be honest. And at the very least, in terms of user reviews, it absolutely must come from actual people that have purchased and played the game. Again, this is for user reviews, not a place to be used as a shameless marketing ploy that is directly counter to Steam terms of service and basic ethical standards. As such, I will be reporting this game to Steam for their violations of the rules, and I would ask my viewers to make sure to share this video if they know people who enjoy tower defense or lane defense games, as a developer that engages in unethical behavior such as this do not deserve either your money or your time. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.